Welcome back to AgriTalk from World Pork Expo in Des Moines, Iowa. As the debate continues about gestation stalls, and there are more and more food outlets out there, whether it be restaurants or grocery chains, who may be putting pressure on pork suppliers to move away from gestation stalls. We want to look at this whole issue now with Ron Plain, professor and extension economist for livestock marketing at the Department of Ag Economics at the University of Missouri. Ron, thank you for joining us. This debate has become somewhat one-sided, I think, in the public, as there seems to be this perception now that a move away from gestation stalls is just completely the best thing to do for the animals and for their well-being. What is not being mentioned much in the coverage of all this is gestation stalls started being used for the reason of protecting the sows, right?
Absolutely, Mike. We made a transition from pen gestation, in which sows were kept together in large numbers, to individual stalls, largely because we could do a couple of things much better. One is control how much feed gets to the sow, so that thin sow doesn't have to fight a big one for her share of the feed, and the big sow doesn't keep getting bigger, and so you can individually portion feed much better. But the other is health checks. For that farmer to walk through a group of sows, if they're housed individually, you can very easily early on detect health problems. When she's out in a pen with 19 other sows, lots of times it's tougher to spot that sick animal.
This is what I find this tremendously frustrating when you hear about, it's McDonald's, it's Kroger's, it's Burger King, whoever it is, going to have their suppliers go to gestation stall free production, and to the public they make it all sound like this is in the animal's best interest. That's not necessarily the case then, because you lose the protection that those stalls have provided.
Absolutely, Mike. There's been a number of studies done in the industry looking at well-managed systems. Either way can result in good animal care. So it's not that sows in individual stalls aren't getting good care. They do in 99% of the cases.
You have done a study, a kind of a survey among producers on gestation stall use. What do you find?
Yeah, Mike, we'll want to talk about this, but there's very few numbers on just how many sows are in open pen gestation versus individual stalls. So we did a quick survey for the National Pork Producers Council, and we surveyed 70 of the larger firms, not near all of the 70,000 hog farms in America, but by going with the big ones, we ended up with about 62% of the sows covered in our survey, and of that group, 17% of them are housed in open pen gestation after they're confirmed pregnant, and the plan is among that group to increase that from 17% to 23% over the next 2 years.
In other words, producers are doing what's best for the animals, what works best on their operation.
Yes, it's interesting. A lot of these firms, larger firms, have some of each. And what a lot of them are trying to do is to figure out how to manage an open pen system and end up with good sow care. I mean, if the sow's not healthy and well cared for, she's not going to deliver the pigs that becomes the product that gets sold. And so we've got a lot of firms that have mixed systems and trying to figure out how open pen gestation can be made to fit.
I guess the point being, just because someone like HSUS says something that sounds like it ought to be better, that doesn't necessarily make it better for the animal.
No, they can put a lot of pressure on retailers, but you get back the farm level and what it takes to actually deliver on this and to care for the animals. It's the farmers that are charged with the welfare of those sows.
It's amazing. We've kind of moved to an arena here where the real experts aren't the ones that are being asked to guide. Other people, outside forces, are making a lot of those decisions. So that's the challenge the industry faces. Ron, thanks for being with us.
Pleasure to talk to you, Mike.
Ron Plain, University of Missouri. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, much more on this. We're going to talk about the decisions by the Safeways, the Burger Kings, the McDonald's, the Kroger's to really put pressure on suppliers of their pork products to go away from gestation stalls. We'll talk about that and what's the industry's response. Coming up next, it's halftime on AgriTalk.